for the kill, the breeze cut, freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares. A bomb break sky high, check the movement is here, yeah. It's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours, go! Turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the bars in the brakes. I'm talking one chance at best, yes. Painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover with the drummer, passion never rests. Freedom is our teacher under pressure, now we blessed. See, I was so good for the go. It's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! Yeah. It's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
What is going on, man?
Not too much, Paul. I just got back from Florida, if you didn't know.
Really? I'm glad you got back safe because last I saw you, you were leaving to go chillax in the pool, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I caught a cold in the pool in Florida. I leave -3-degree Minnesota and I get a cold in Florida.
Yeah, you leave the cold and you get a cold in Florida where it's not that cold. It was I think maybe you got it because when we were at Disney you were unexpected, you underdressed, you were thinking it's going to be warmer than it was, and it was actually a little bit chillier that day.
That was you, Paul. You were actually the one wearing a t-shirt. I was wearing a hoodie.
Oh, that's true. Your wife had to go buy a jacket from the gift shop because she was so cold because you wouldn't share yours. I gave mine. I was actually dressed fine. I just gave mine to my son because we forgot to give him a thick jacket and he only had like a really thin one on. So he was like cuddled in mine. And
I was just giving Andrew an excuse to go buy a sweatshirt. That was all.
She didn't.
I knew that she would have wanted that.
So. I mean, she looked good in that sweater. That's for sure. All right. We got a lot of people in the stream tonight. What's up? Mike Walks. Discover with Dima, man. Yo, your question was in my video, so I'm editing that video now. Kyle Watts and I, we shot a Q&A while he was down here, and I do have your question in the video, so note you're in it, bud. So stay tuned for that. And then we got, of course, our special guest tonight, and I saw this guy when he was like just starting in a challenge, and I was like, dude, you're gonna go somewhere. I kind of did the same thing to Kyle. I feel like every time I do that to somebody, they always like blow by me in subscribers, and they're just way better than me. Well, they kind of are, but anyway, this guy is really talented. He shoots on better cameras than Sony, supposedly. They just don't have good autofocus yet. But anyway, let's. Do you have anything else you want to say to the good people here before we bring in our guest, Kyle?
No, I mean we're going to be talking about the Panasonic GH6 on a channel that normally talks about Sony stuff. So
on the alpha shot, yeah. But they all can't be winners, right? I mean, I think there's no terrible camera out there right now.
I'm going to say you met him before with like Dobo's channel and stuff. I personally met our next guest at a Viking game when we crushed his team, the Steelers. I wish you guys could see his face right now because he's laughing like crazy. So let's just go ahead and bring him in here.
All right.
Whoop.
We just want to supersize his face on for you guys. Boink.
Control this wrong ball.
No, this is what you did. Boom.
There we go.
Hey, you're right. I am looking a little orange on this, aren't I?
You're a little orange. I should be a little orange. I'm in Florida. The
camera wise, it looks right on, but How's it going, guys?
It's good, man.
too
It's really
bad.
great to have you. Thanks. I think you're our first official guest
Yes.
of our stream yet. We haven't even finished rebranding. Caleb got a little sneak peek for our new creator camp intro that Kyle's
it.
been working on. It's kind of funny. It's got some retro vibes to it, so
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
really funny. But Caleb got a sneak peek of it tonight.
Yeah, we actually did have Dima on, by the way, Paul. If you remember,
What's that?
we did have Dima on a little bit ago.
We did,
Yeah,
dude. I'm a terrible person, I guess.
we were talking about the ZV-1, shooting with the ZV-1, traveling.
I'm sorry, Dima. I forgive me. My memory is terrible. I'm all over the place. Well, sorry to burst your bubble, Caleb. Maybe you'll be our first guest when we actually rebranded the Caleb to the Creator Camp. Who knows? I don't know.
Oh man, pumped for that. And you were telling me during that game, that Vikings game, you were telling me just watch the Vikings blow this in the second half.
Yep.
Man, you were right on. It's like that team up there or something.
Every week they were like, they would be killing everyone, and then it'd be like, this game's not over until it's the literally last play of the game, which it actually came down to on that game. So.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I'm a pretty big Steelers fan, and yeah, that was crazy. I thought it was just gonna just be a blowout the whole time, but enough.
So
about football, right?
how far away are you from Kyle? Right, aren't you like 4 or 5 hours? You think?
No, not even that. Probably 3?
Okay,
Maybe 3.5, maybe 4. Depends how you drive.
Yeah, I'm just south.
Okay, so if you drive like Kyle, then maybe 2.5. Because we were going to North Shore, and this guy, he got a warning. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, sure.
$110
warning.
$110 warning.
I thought it was just a warning from you, Paul.
My wife is in the back seat. You're speeding. You're speeding. She always says it to me.
I think I said I haven't had a speeding ticket in 10 years, and then we got pulled over.
She jinxed him for sure. We'll blame it on her. It's fine. She's not watching the stream or anything. But anyways, let's get right into this topic here. We got a nice group of guys here. We're already getting into it deep like friends here. But the GH6. Now, I've read some of these rumors on this thing, and it's turning to be like a micro four thirds Sony A7 S3, except for it's going to be able to shoot in like 5.7K for some of the modes.
Yeah, I mean, rumored. First of all, Lumix shooters have been waiting so long for something like this. It was teased last spring of 2021, and there's like a few social media posts about it. But what they ended up doing was putting out a GH5 Mark II was like the actual camera release. So we, bunch of Lumix shooters saw it. We're like, oh, it's going to be here like this summer. Well, the summer came, summer went, fall came, fall went, and then I guess now they're making the official announcement on the 21st of February. And I'm assuming that probably, I don't know, I'm assuming pre-orders will start around then as well. I guess I'm not totally sure. I haven't had a camera release in so long. Like, I don't know how those camera releases work.
You Sony people get a camera every year, and
you Sony shooters every 6 months, you're like, oh, I'm pre-ordering this.
I feel like for a while there was even shorter than that. I mean, there was a span in 3 months where Sony put out like 5 cameras last year.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, it tells you how good the GH5 was specs wise, that it could last as long as it did without a refresh. I mean, how long was it with the when did the GH5 release?
Yeah, it was 2017, and I will say the GH5 was way ahead of its time with some of those shoot settings that it has, the IBIS on it. Just an absolute video, use the term workhorse. That's what it was. And
the first camera to have 4K 60, right?
Yeah, 4K 60. It has the variable frame rates up to 120. It doesn't have high frame rate 120, but it does have the variable frame rate, which, I mean, the picture that you're getting out of the GH5 was like way ahead of its time. And one of the nice things too is like that micro four thirds sensor, like it is sometimes a doozy to work with, but it's such a versatile sensor on there that you can really use any lens on it. and
especially since you can't rely on the
those.
autofocus anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You just put whatever lens you want on it. It's really good, you know.
Yeah, you're not using autofocus. I've never used autofocus on that. The only thing I use autofocus would be like that focus transition. There's like a focus transition feature on there where you can set different, like in the menu, you can go and set 3 points and you can tap the screen and then it'll like focus on those different, let's say you're doing like different products or something. You can have one in the foreground. My video tomorrow actually has a shot like that in it. It has like, foreground, you can tap it, switch back to that other one. And you have like 3 different tap points that you can do. Then also there's like a focus lock, which is fantastic on certain lenses. It's fantastic, but it's a focus lock where you basically tap to focus and that locks on. It's not an autofocus, but it locks on to, let's say you're doing an interview or something, you can lock on to the person in the interview and it'll stay right there. But if they, start going like this, it'll go out because you're locked in that one spot. Yeah.
I mean, my Sony has like a square in my eyeball right now. It's so good. But I mean, I remember my first camera was a G85, and I do remember that the one thing I really miss too is that, I mean, their app is fantastic.
Yeah, that
and
is.
I would always just pull the app up on my phone. I would set the camera to manual focus, and then I would just touch focus on the app to get my focus on me.
Yeah, that's
how I had to do it until I upgraded to an 873 after a little while. But
yeah, I mean, it's rumored the GH6 is rumored to have that phase detect autofocus. I haven't seen anything yet that is a for sure phase detect autofocus system, but it's supposed to have a new sensor in there,
right?
New processor. So they might. Okay. Here's the thing. They've been using, the contrast detect or depth of or whatever it's called. I don't even know what it's called.
And they swear by it. I mean, when it first came out, they're like, "Oh, this is going to be the best of the best." But we're not moving away from this, and they didn't move away from it. They put it in all their cameras going out after that.
Yeah, they haven't moved away from it, but they've been improving it. It has in that GH5 Mark II. Yeah, depth from defocus. There it is. That the GH5 Mark II was actually pretty decent. I mean, it's nothing like a Sony camera or Canon camera, nothing like that, but it's decent. The only thing that's bad is with that depth from defocus. Oh, Anson's here. What's up, Anson? Is you get so much of that pulsing in the background, and that's the biggest issue on like a talking head or anything like that. It's that pulsing in the background is just horrible. Which on your Sony cameras, I mean, you don't have any pulse, it's like locked on. So, and it might stay like on the GH5 Mark II, it might stay locked on to your face, but that background is pulsing and it's a distraction. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, look, we have somebody who's also a fellow, Dima here. He bought the Mark II himself. So
yeah, the GH5 Mark II is a great camera. I when it first came out last spring, it was like what's going on? But after using the GH5 Mark II, I understand it's basically to future proof the firmware and stuff like that.
And Anson, I believe you shoot on Panasonic, don't you? You're an S1H guy. Is that what you are? I forget. So we got Anthem Music. I have an S. He has an S1H and an S5. I just sold my GH5. He's ready for the GH6. Okay, he sold it before while it's still worth more, huh? But I mean, what's gonna be crazy is now when the GH6 comes out, those GH5s are gonna be going on the market for a steal. I mean,
they will.
I mean, that camera, if you can get past the autofocus, is fantastic. If Panasonic comes out with autofocus on this GH6, all camera companies are going to be in trouble, because a lot of the things that were holding people back from the Panasonic system is literally autofocus. Panasonic would be foolish not to incorporate good phase detect autofocus in this camera, because literally if they did, people would jump back to them in droves. I mean, I know that a ton of people switched from their Panasonic cameras to Sony because they just got tired of it. Like, oh man, just so many big creators. I can't think of off the top of my head.
Well, a lot of it. Yeah.
And some of them I met at camera camp. Some of them were still shooting Panasonic when they went to camera camp. Was renting out those cameras to use at camera camp, and they fell in love with them while they're there. And they're like, "Well, wow, I didn't realize how much of an improvement it is to have good autofocus and these other features." So they jump ship. But
yeah, I mean, especially if you're doing like if you're a creator that does some of like the vlogging content and stuff like that. I mean, it's like so hard to hold it up and like try to,
right,
just like rack focus while you're like holding it, trying to talk and all that. But
Jevin Dovey was the one I was thinking of. I met him at camera camp. I was talking to him like, "Oh, you're a Panasonic guy. Is this going to tempt you to move over to Sony?" And he was like, maybe. I'm really tempted right now. And then like sure enough, he leaves camera camp. He goes out and then probably, I don't know, within like 2 or 3 months he was switching over to the Sony, and he still is now. So
and like you said earlier, I mean, you really can't go wrong with any of the cameras that are out right now. I mean, it's like
there's you can't use the camera as an excuse anymore. I mean, especially the thing you carry on in your pocket. I mean, this thing shoots good 4K as long as you're lighting it properly. So there's just no excuses these days. Nothing.
Discover with Demon. Oh, he has a question. Here, if I read that.
Let me put it on screen because we have.
Do you have an issue with the flip screen? Like one of the things I've noticed with the flip screen is if you have it, tilted almost all the way, but not quite, it'll like flip the image upside down because it's thinking you're looking at it upside down, which I think is a fairly common thing. So I don't know. I didn't have anything out of the, that was unusual about it when I used the GH5 Mark II. So I don't know.
Anson's just not sold on having autofocus.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like
a lot of, I mean, I am kind of on the fence. I'm like, I mean, they need to, because if they did, it would probably sell like hotcakes. But will they give up that amazing depth of focus, or they just want to keep trying to make it work?
Yeah, I know. That's like they've been trying to make so many improvements on it, and saying it's work for like photography. I mean, it works fine for photography, but for video, that phase detect is really the way to go.
Absolutely.
I wonder if there's something in the menu on his flip screen that does like to allow it to not flip when it does that or something. I've
Caleb,
never looked at a menu myself. So.
Do you use XLR1?
No. Oh, I saw your message or your comment.
My comment?
Post,
yeah.
On that post that I
was like, I saw it. I'm like, I'll ask him. I'll probably see him tonight and in the actual answer.
Yeah, it's basically the same question. And actually, I don't have one. I've liked recording into the Zoom for audio for so long that I've just kind of kept that. And I sync up. It's right. I mean, it's an easy sync. Like,
Final Cut. You just right click and go for it.
It's an easy sync, but I just love the audio that's coming out that I get through the Zoom.
Yeah, I just got the XLR K3M module for my Sony, so I could use it with the Rode NTG5, and wow, I like using XLR mic. I mean, I knew I would, but the module itself makes it so much easy. I mean,
I've been
it shoots when I have it in the A7S3, it records 24-bit audio, so that's a huge plus.
Yeah, I've been shooting in a studio, and they're set up with GH5s there, and they use the XLR one for their audio, and it's great. I mean, it's just like plugging into a cinema camera. You know what I mean?
Do you want to answer this, Caleb? Anthem Music, I do not think it'll have mini XLRs, but hey,
no, I don't think so.
You never know.
It's gonna be video heavy. It's a video heavy camera, but I don't think it's gonna have XLRs on it. I think it's gonna they're going to stick with that hybrid photo video.
Yeah, keep that small-ish form factor. Somebody here wants
There's a lot of questions that
control.
I feel totally unprepared to answer here. There's all Paul at least has shot on Panasonic. I've never actually shot on any of the
where is it
GH5.
here?
So
Dima and I are in the same boat. See, looks like Dima used to shoot on the G85. I used to be a G85 shooter, and it was a great. The person who sold me on it is the only other huge Panasonic shooter that I really knew of before Caleb Hoover came out was DSLR video shooter. Caleb Pike, and he kind of sold me on getting the G85 with all his videos.
Yeah,
and it was a great camera. It was pretty much a mini GH5 without some of the higher end shooting frame rates, and just for talking head YouTube videos, it was a great start for me.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, I've never used the G85, but I heard
the IBIS was really good as well. So
what was your first Panasonic camera?
Mine?
Yep.
GH4.
So you've been shooting on Panasonic for 10 years.
My very first camera that I got on my own after I went, freelance was, and just to like start shooting weddings real quick, was the Canon T3i, which was, pretty common for people to get. But absolutely. And all I wanted to, I just wanted to get out there and start shooting weddings, you know what I mean? It's like all shaky cam, and I wasn't using a.
Well, I see that you're shooting. Do you still shoot weddings? What are you shooting these days?
Yeah, mostly like corporate storytelling type videos. So, like today was like a wealth management company that I shot some interviews for. I work with banks. I work with a lot with nonprofits as well. So I have some like higher, like some of the bigger companies that I work with locally bigger, but what I really like doing is working with nonprofits, because the stories that you get are just fantastic. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Is there a path that kind of led you to get into that kind of?
Yeah. So I was actually doing, like video, photo, IT, set up people's emails, kind of like do it all for a nonprofit that was based in North and South Dakota. And then they basically got rid of my position. So I was like, what should I do? So I talked to my wife and was like, let's do this on our own, let's try it. And so right away I started trying to book some weddings and kind of get in that space just to start making videos. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, weddings are pretty, I wouldn't say easy to do, but they're
not easy.
Everybody's getting married everywhere, and there's always looking for videographers, right?
I knew right at the beginning though, I did not want to stay in the wedding game. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people do, and that's awesome.
It's really stressful.
And it was kind of at the time too where like wedding videos weren't super popular yet. Like they were, like if you had a wedding video, it was more like really cut and dry. It wasn't like these like cinematic ones that you have now.
Right, you're just setting up so they can get the video.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
the event,
Yeah. So yeah, I started doing that, and charging just super low rates just to get weddings to try to get better. So, but I started cutting on Final Cut a long time ago. Final Cut 7.
We're all Final Cut users here.
Yeah, I'm Premiere now, but
you are.
That's a whole nother story.
Okay. A little harsh feelings there, huh?
Another story for another live stream. No, we don't have to go.
So you were supposed to have a live stream last night too. So
okay. Here's the thing.
You don't have to explain, Wade.
No. I was gonna have one. Something came up. I wasn't able to do. But if I would have had that live stream, that GH6 post from Lumix would have come out during my live stream, and I could have had that live on my live stream.
That'd have been fun.
Kidding me?
Would have been cool.
Yeah, as soon as I saw you post that, I was like, well, I mean, you definitely hop on Wednesday if you're free. So
yeah, thanks for the invite. And
yeah,
Paul,
Kyle's like, hey, you want to have Caleb go on? I'm like, heck yeah, let's bring him on. I haven't seen the guy in a while, and I've been kind of out of it on my creators because I've been trying to focus on my stuff so much lately, and haven't had a lot of time. And oh man,
I just knew I
Bobby
wasn't going to be
Peacock's
talking
here.
a lot tonight either because I'm kind of hoarse a little bit from this cold. So
oh yeah, well, you guys got to hang out together in Florida, so at least I get to hang out with you on the internet.
I
yeah.
saw you at the Steelers game when we beat you.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Listen, there's always an open room in my house, and plane tickets to Orlando are usually mad cheap. So
I think we have direct flights there from here.
I only paid like $99 for a round trip, so and I got $50 credit for the next one because the 5-hour
4-hour delay, 5-hour delay.
Yep,
something crazy.
Bobby Peacock, how's it going, man? Good to see you,
Bobby Peacock.
He's a friend.
What's up, man?
So we have this weird thing that happens on our chat, by the way, where all of the like different live chats are coming from both mine and Paul's page, and they're all going to our thing. But like anyone who's watching my video is not seeing Paul's chats.
Yeah, so right now we're about half and half.
Goofy.
Half the people are on Kyle's channel, and half the people are on mine. So, we try to post the comments on the stream so that everybody can like, oh, I don't see that comment. It's because there's two different. We're trying something new. I don't know. We're trying to see what works. We're trying to not only link both of our communities together, but also find a way that's kind of fair for each creator that spending a good amount of time on these.
I think too, I think the guests are allowed to also stream that to theirs if they wanted to.
Yeah,
because I think Dima did that when he was on. So that would like an extra layer of confusion of who where these what page these people are coming from. So
I saw that option when I was logging in, but I was like, oh man, it's starting in like 5 minutes. So I just do that real quick.
We're really bad about posting anything ahead of time too. Like
I Kyle texted me, hey, did you ever get the thumbnail done? Yeah, I'm going on lunch break and I'm gonna be working on it like literally in like 5 minutes. But
or usually we're like, hey, what do you want to do tonight? Tonight, I mean, it's 5 o'clock right now, Paul. So we're gonna get better at that and hopefully have like a settled schedule with actual guests and stuff too. So
I like what you have going on here. I'm excited for that new venture too. I think that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, we have a lot of pretty big creators that are willing to join us on this endeavor. I've built a lot of relationships with a number of large creators just because I'm a comment crazy person. And they've kind of got to know me. But so we have, and Kyle's very similar to me in the same aspect. We got Anthem Music has another question here. I have another good question. Do you think the GH6 will be able to adapt with L-mount lenses? The L-mount Alliance. Will they change their mount?
Hey, that is a good question that I don't have an answer to. I wish
it'll be interesting.
It will be interesting. I almost think they have to have some type of an adapter. I know the L-mount lenses are, they're full frame lenses, but I think. Oh, Anson says no. I don't know. They might have some kind of adapter, but Anson would know. He's like super techie.
Anson's on it.
Gearhead. Right, Anson?
I'm a gearhead too. Anson says, what do you guys think will be the big selling point of the GH6?
Autofocus.
Well, if they put if they put autofocus in there, it will be the biggest selling point.
I mean, that's the one complaint most people have on that camera is autofocus. So I would hope that that's the one that they.
And it'll, like you said, what mount will be on it? It will be very interesting. I mean, I'm assuming.
I mean, it won't be an L mount on it. But they might have adapters to adapt the L mount to the Micro Four Third mount. You know what I mean?
Right. So, I mean, the thing about the Micro Four Thirds, one of the selling points at least, is that mount. You can adapt. You can either adapt anything to it, and then there's a handful of lenses, both between Panasonic, Olympus, and then
Like
all
a
the other manufacturers that have been making lenses for these. So, it's pretty much like, I mean, Sony has definitely up their. I think Sony has probably the largest selection, other than the micro four thirds amount. So like, it's a world of options with that micro 4,000 thirds mount.
Yeah.
And if they can get the autofocus on it, then shoot, yes. Yeah, and
I mean,
exactly like I just said, the big selling point is micro four thirds. We got Alex Miner. This guy is an
hey, Alex.
amazing creator. If you don't know who Alex Miner is, I know he's been a little bit quiet lately. It's hard when you're running a production company and got a family, but he's actually local to me too. I've been like meaning to, like, I want to see his new studio space that it's not really new anymore. He's had it for a while now, but I've been meaning to get with him. It's he understands it's family job, side hustle, YouTube. It's all just takes up a lot of time. But one day I will finally get to meet this Alex Miner, and we will vlog it up. Even though he hates vlogging, I don't know. Let's see. What did he had but the lenses are bigger and ridiculous and expensive for the L mount. Yeah, the L mount lenses are crazy expensive. I mean, I thought Sony had expensive lenses, and then the Canon and the L mount, they just take it to a whole nother level. That RF and the L mount, oh my gosh, it's just crazy.
I mean, you get that, like, if you buy the S5, you get that 20 to 60 millimeter, which is a pretty good kit lens, but it's a variable aperture on it, which drives me crazy. Variable apertures. But I mean, that one is pretty basic and inexpensive, but yeah, for the most part they're pretty expensive. Full frame lenses. But yeah, I mean,
why didn't anybody get the BGH1? I mean, I know a few, like I know Dobo from Original Dobo got one for to mount onto an FPV drone.
That's a good idea.
I know that the Everyday Dad did have one for a while, and then he kind of moved away from it. I mean, it's a great camera. It's like pretty much a box version of a GH5, essentially. I mean, I just, why didn't they get into it? Maybe they just, the form factor wasn't enough, because when you got things as good of as a GH5 and you can pick those things up used for the price they are, I mean, it's a steal. And especially now, once this GH6 comes out, the GH5 used, I mean, I'm sure Alex Miner is going to go out and run out and pick up a few more GH5s to add to his arsenal, because he can never have enough of them.
Those BGH1s, like if you're doing in studio live stream type work, multicam stuff like that, I think those would be pretty good cameras for that type of work.
And they have a built-in XLR, don't they?
That's a great question. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. I'm sure somebody in the chat has that.
Somebody says the form factor was bad, but the software made it a studio dream. And that kind of goes along the lines of what Caleb just said.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing multicam live streaming, that'd be a great way to go.
Caleb, here's a question for you. Do you know how many megapixels the GH6 is rumored to have?
I haven't seen anything about that. Like, there's not very much information about the GH6. Like,
there's just that one little stinger page that says new image sensor, new engine, 422 10-bit.
Yeah, you must have it up unless you memorized it. But you have like, the 4K 60 at 10-bit 422. I have it on a sheet over here. 10-bit 4K 120, high frame rate and variable frame rate, that's a really good option. I mean, on those Sony cameras, you have that high frame rate of 120, which is nice to work with. Variable frame rate is nice to work with on those Lumix cameras. 10-bit 5.7K 60 frames per second. So, I mean, there's some like pretty stellar shoot settings on here, but it'll be the big thing that the reason people are going to watch that stream on the 21st at 8 p.m., I think it is is they're gonna watch it to see what the autofocus is.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to be hovering over that add to cart to see if it has good autofocus or not, and they'll just. If you think you go Panasonic branded lenses, they are more expensive than Sony, but Sigmas are cheaper than Sony.
Yeah, Sigmas are great lenses. I just had a video of the lens that always stays on my GH5 cinema rig, and go check it out on my channel. Plug.
Speaking of which, you just hit
the
12K on your
Sigma.
channel. I saw it too.
Yeah, I did just hit 12K.
Killing it, bro.
Thanks, man. Hey, Paul, you've been there from the beginning.
Dude, I knew when I first saw that first video that you posted on oh my gosh, I haven't seen his stuff in a while. Gosh, what was his name? Sorry. The challenge.
Josh Haynes.
Josh Haynes.
Yep.
You posted a video on John. I think you did a DD microphone or something. You did something.
Oh yeah, Rode Wireless Go, I think.
Rode, yeah, there you go. And that was really that was your first video, I think, on YouTube, right?
Yeah, because I started uploading like late 2019. I think that video, I mean, didn't perform very well. I think Josh was having like a live stream where he was, going through and kind of like reviewing people's videos, that type of thing. So I sent that one in, and
when I saw that video, I was like, this guy is going somewhere. So I messaged you. I'm like, dude, you got to keep it up, keep it up, keep it up.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, you've been encouraging.
You did it perfectly, dude. I think you were an example that kind of made me want to start doing more Sony content.
Right on.
Because you were doing all this GH5. You found your niche and you leaned into it even more, and
I went hardcore on it.
It's paying off very well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been fun doing this. Like especially during the pandemic, making some videos, and because all my client work really just went, you know what I mean? For a while. I wasn't set up for live, so everybody was doing live stuff, but yeah.
Anthem Music says that the issue has been the flange distance for adapting the L mount lens. Alex Miner would love 4K 120 and 10-bit. Now, that is rumored already on the site, so I'm pretty. There's no way that. First of all, there's no way that they're not going to have it. I think. But after the Sony A7S3 has it, and it's a full frame sensor, you're going to have it in the Micro Four Thirds for people to even consider it.
Okay, here's the thing: like the GH6 really needs to just blow us out of the water. Otherwise, I mean, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like there needs to be, and that's where I think, like we've been saying, that phase detect autofocus comes in. Like it almost at this point it needs to have that. Oh yeah, Alex, we're basically talking about the same thing. Like
exactly,
it basically needs to have that. If it doesn't have that, if it doesn't blow us out of the water, then I mean, really, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, just go buy a GH5. I mean, it's not. I don't know.
The funny thing is that I like to shoot a lot of 4K 60 on our A7S3s because I just think I like the look of it better.
I do
most of the time, because most of the things are slow enough to where you put them to 120 and they're almost too slow. But now that A7 IV has 60 4K, I'm like, I'm gonna start using 120 more often now. Got to separate that.
To make you feel like you did a real good purchase.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I use 4K 60 8-bit on the GH5 all the time. Like a long time ago when it was like, oh man, having 120 is just the variable frame rate of 120. Like, I mean, you overuse it, you know what I mean? But having but I use that 4K 60 a lot.
E says 4K 4.4 12-bit raw. Wow.
Could you imagine what that would do to your computer?
Yeah,
we'd have to get
destroy those M1 Pros.
My computer would just like start melting.
Yeah, mine already doesn't like 10-bit. I record everything in S&Q mode on our cameras, which renders it in camera. So then it actually goes into the computer. It's just at 24 frames per second.
Yep.
And then it's really easy to edit. You can still speed stuff up back to normal and then speed grade. And
that's what the variable frame rate is.
And what's nice about that on the A7S3, does it in good quality, like with the A7C, the A7 III, those older cameras in the S&Q mode. It was like 4 or 5 bit megabits, where you get like a full 100 megabit
Well, it should be
footage.
the exact same quality, but yeah, otherwise the S&Q always was about half the bit rate.
Any thoughts on whether or not the Panasonic will finally migrate away from DFD with the GH6, or will whoa, I'm not even able to say that, can save the Neil? I'm guessing that's the CEO.
Yeah.
Wait, do you know anything about that, Caleb?
I don't think so. I think it's gonna. Well, I mean, it's rumored to have phase detect, but I don't. That depth from deep
Oh,
focus.
depth. That's what it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Depth.
Like, I
Yeah.
think
Everybody wants them to move away. We think we're not
it's
super faithful in Panasonic. They haven't had the best track record.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't
But-
moved away from it yet. I mean, they haven't moved away from it in like the GH5 Mark II. Like, yes, it's improved over the years. The GH4 was even worse than the GH5. Like, so I mean, it's improved over the years, but to totally make the switch, I mean, they have the new processor, Micro Four Thirds processor. They have the new sensor. So, I mean, it has some things going for it where they can put that phase detect autofocus in.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much have to. Otherwise, this, like we said, it's not really a point. Do you think it'll be a stacked sensor? That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it would be cool.
Yeah.
But
here's something. Can I just go over a few things that I'm looking for in it?
Absolutely. Shoot.
Like, okay, so a long time ago, I think Bobby and I talked about this with my friend. I think it was Bobby and me and my friend Nate. I think we talked about this, like what we'd like to see in a GH6, and we had a whole list of things, but 4K 120 was one of them. So that's already on the list. The unlimited recording's great. I would like to see the dual native ISO. The GH5S has the dual native ISO. GH5, the regular version GH5, does not. I would like to see the IBIS like in the GH5 Mark II. I think it's 6.5 stops IBIS. The GH5 has 5 stops IBIS. What else was there? Oh, somebody said it in the 12-bit RAW. I don't think it's gonna be 12-bit RAW, but having, even if it's just external RAW recording, I think would be a pretty big step as well. Those are just a few things.
Somebody is asking here, can we explain what a stacked sensor is, the benefits? I mean, from my knowledge, the best, the reason why, when you have stacked sensors, that it just runs faster, right? You can scan the image 2 times faster than if you had only one sensor, so it cuts down on like rolling shutter. It allows you to do, shoot faster frame rates, all this other stuff. The downsides, though, to having a stacked sensor is obviously you have 2 sensors, which means you have 2 times the amount of heat dissipation. So when you get into stacked sensors, the hard part is, to control heat, which, we can see that the R5s, all the Canon cameras are having a hard time with it. Even the new Sony A7 IV is having, has issues with it unless you have that flip out screen open and it's set to high heat. But I mean, it's just natural when you have 2 sensors working hard to process that image. It's all about how fast that image gets processed. So.
Okay, here I'll say this. The other day, I think it was last week, I messaged Lumix. I'm part of like a Lumix group on Instagram. I messaged Lumix and I was like, I don't know. It's like, where's the GH6? Because I'm running out of GH5 content to make. Laugh emoji, But then it was announced on Monday. I'm not gonna take total responsibility for this, but I'm just saying.
Okay, here's an interesting one. Somebody says they want a new battery. What do you think about that? I mean, I remember shooting on the G85, and I did go through a lot of batteries. I just bought a ton of aftermarket ones.
Yeah, I mean, the battery life on the GH5 is pretty good. The battery life on the GH4 was like, you could last a week on that thing shooting 4K. I don't know what it was about it. I mean, same battery, but it's just the way the camera processed it or something. Like you could leave that battery in there for, like you could have shoots all week and leave it in there. But yeah, I don't know about a new battery. Probably the battery that, yeah, I was gonna say somebody put up probably that S5 battery. I was thinking maybe something along those lines, very similar.
I mean, it kind of the image that they kind
battery.
of tease, it almost, I don't know if it was from Panasonic or if the rumor site just made it, but it seems like it's gonna be in a very similar body to their full frame cameras.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the direction they're going. A little bit boxier, red accents.
Red accents, yeah. So, well, I mean,
Kinda nice.
yeah, we don't have to wait much longer. It was a very quick tease too, you know, boom, and then 2 weeks later they'll get it announced. So,
See, I
they're
feel
not
like with
gonna
all
make us
these
wait
Sony
too long.
cameras, like everything leaks before that thing gets announced. So, and then if one thing isn't right, people get pissed at Sony for it.
Oh yeah,
It's like, well,
dang it, Sony
that
out
was
the
never,
rumors was
yeah.
wrong. How dare them? Those guys, yeah.
Sometimes
I
I
just
wonder
kind of
what
wonder. I kind of wonder what the manufacturing situation is going to be because
yeah, totally.
right now everybody
Yep.
has put out new cameras and no one can make them.
Yeah. I 100% agree. It's going to be an interesting ride here for a little bit.
For sure.
First of all, is it everything that we've ever wanted in a GH6? We've been waiting for so long. Second of all, can they actually produce it?
Right, because I mean, they're full frame sensors. They're produced by Sony, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
yes,
they
they
use
are.
Sony.
They're Sony sensors, yeah.
They're Sony sensors. So,
Which also means processors probably do for the sensor.
It's
Which if
basically the same
that is the
company.
case though, like they won't, if they are using the processors also from the Sony too, that might be a good thing because like the processors in the new A7S3 and A7 IV are really fast. And that also helps. That's the majority of the reason why these cameras are better for shutter roll is because that processor is speeding through. It's writing it a lot faster than previously. So
well, he has a little bit of faith that they're going to have slightly better autofocus.
I would have to think that was their number one goal in making this next one because right now they're in a market that is kind of being dominated by two companies right now when they were ahead 2 years ago on
I mean,
video.
if you asked anybody years ago, before the A7 III, before, you know, everybody would say if you're shooting video, go Panasonic. And
Yeah, it's
now
always been video focused.
Yeah, and now everybody's shooting Sony because it's just so much. It's very convenient with that autofocus. So it's they've got. I mean, man, I feel like this is the theme of the stream tonight is they need to have autofocus. I mean, they've got to know this, right? I mean, the people over there at Panasonic, they've got to know it. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Wonder what is there any kind of rumors on price point on the camera?
Around 25, probably. It'll be over 2,000 is my guess. Probably 2,500.
Okay.
So on par with the A7 IV as far as pricing goes, probably.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably. I think even on the B&H site, they have they say approximately $2,500. So I think that's probably B&H knows what they're talking about. Anson had one thing earlier. My predictions. You had it up a little bit ago. That full vlog. One of the things on there he put full vlog. I will be interested to see if it has that full vlog. I think it probably will. Especially
where they won't make you buy it.
Exactly. Like Lumix has just been so quirky on some things, you know, like the autofocus. They're just quirky on it. But then you had to purchase the vlog separately. I mean, now and it's a light version vlog, so it's not a full S curve. You know what I mean? So it's
true
on the GH5 you had to purchase it, but then they started putting it on the GH5S, and they have vlog out on the GH5 Mark II already installed where you don't have to pay $100 to have it shipped to you on a little card. Come on.
What's a Fly Zone?
There was
Yeah.
a comment earlier. I don't know where it is here, but it was someone was saying, "Do you think that all the features will actually be on the camera when they release it, or is
That's
it
a
going to
good
be
question.
a firmware update a year down the road?"
Yeah, I think some of it. Well, here's the thing. I mean, they've been spending a lot of time on this thing, so I think their best bet is just to release everything on that camera when it comes out. But I mean, there's always firmware updates that will be coming, but I think everything that is like main stuff needs to be on there. Like it has to blow us away. It has to blow us away.
Are you planning on adding this to your cart and purchasing it?
I am planning on it. Yes.
Okay.
As of right this moment, I am planning on it. That could change on the 21st. We'll see.
Right. If and when you get that camera, we need to team up and swap cameras for a video.
Absolutely.
And see,
I like
just
that.
do the whole Sony shooter uses a GH6.
Only a 3-hour drive. That's not bad.
Well, I mean, we could even meet. Mankato's a pretty nice spot too.
Yep.
Mankato's a pretty nice area. That's, I mean,
yeah, I guess you'd be kind of more south anyways like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Two Harbors was beautiful. Is Two Harbors like 3 hours away from you as well? I know it was
like
three.
north,
I know it's 3 hours away from.
Yeah, he's southwest. 3 hours.
So it'd be like
hours.
6 hours for me.
Yeah.
Oh man, crazy.
I showed Sydney that place though, and kind of cooking that idea in his mind for him to visit North Shore too. So we should get a big group of people together if that happens.
I'll take your Sony to vlog with the broad, Kyle.
Hey, so since this is a Sony, live stream for the most part, the alpha shot, I seriously have been considering one of those ZV-1s. I know I've talked about it a couple times.
Well, this guy is like the perfect person to ask this question. He actually has one.
Well,
and you can actually probably so you need to get with him, and that'll answer all those. You can even use it.
Because one of the things I was thinking of, because it's so small and compact, I just doing it for some like little BTS stuff, like shorts are gaining a lot of traction, and just having some BTS stuff like on, some of my video shoots, or if I'm shooting for a YouTube video or something, just, I think it'd make life kind of
easy.
Okay, not kind of, a lot easier.
Well, the thing with this is that
set up,
like, this is a great like starter camera for people, for sure, for YouTube content or whatever. The thing that this works really well for people who already have big camera setups is this is like the ultimate overhead camera. You pair this with like a C clamp, or almost clamps you can put on anything.
Yeah,
you can literally put this anywhere, and then it does all the vertical content you want.
Yeah, right.
So it automatically like senses it in vertical mode, and it just starts recording that way.
It's pretty sweet. And you have like a little adapter on the lens too, right, to make it wider?
Yeah, I don't use it all the time, but if you want it to, it'll go from like a 24 to like a 18 look.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Give or take somewhere in there. Because if you're using active stabilization, it actually punches in about another 5-10% as well. But also, I have this little bottom plate that I put on here.
Yeah.
I've never taken this off. Like a lot of times when you put stuff like this on cameras, you take them off all the time. But
yeah, right.
I dropped this thing pretty good in Florida. Paul remembers that. And it landed on that. So that saved the case. But also it just gives you all these like contact points to mount it on. So you can actually open the battery door when it's like on something.
You just did that to rub that autofocus in my face, didn't you? I saw that.
With that?
I saw that.
Oh,
look at that.
It's really noticeable on this 20mm lens too. It focus breathes when it first locks.
Oh yeah, same with this one.
Well, that's it. So the thing with this too that a lot of people like is it has product showcase. There's this thing that this camera and the ZV-E10 have, and I don't know why they don't have it on any of the other Sony cameras, but it's called product showcase, where it'll still like kind of sense you as face tracking, not as intense as like what the eye tracking does.
Yep.
But the second you even remotely put something up in the frame, you don't have to like block your face like you do with this camera.
Yeah, right.
You just put it up in the frame and it just immediately goes to it.
That's cool.
It's just like incredibly fast. And why this camera and the other one are the only two that have that is beyond me.
Yeah.
That needs to be like a firmware update for all of the other like $3,000-$4,000 Sony cameras. But yeah, this thing does like so many things that all these other cameras don't even have the ability to do, and it's crazy that it's a $600 camera.
Yeah, I know.
I would guess that there'll be a ZV-2 probably soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say if you're looking in the market now, either find one of these used or maybe wait it out until that one comes out. But
because I mean,
who knows how long that'll be?
Looks like I could just toss that in my pocket, and I don't use my phone for stuff like that.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I do every once in a while, but mostly I don't. So it'd be nice to just have something real quick like that, just to pop out and like, oh, here's my setup for today. You know what I mean? Like super easy stuff.
And it gives you good depth
I've
of
been
field.
to buy one as well because it's just you can leave it in your pocket and have it for those moments where I want to record something real quick. Just pop it out.
Well, like the big argument with the whole phone versus this thing, some people say like, oh, your phone looks just as good as this. It's like, do you really want to put a whole trip worth of memory on your phone? Like, I max out 128 gig cards all the time on this thing.
And
I don't want that on my phone.
It's a process. If you're not editing on your phone, it's a process to get it off your phone. And
I mean, if you're airdropping, you have Mac or something, it's a little easier. But
if you're doing like Filmic Pro or something, then it's another step.
Yeah. The best thing is just have an SD pop in your computer, upload it, you're done in 5-10 minutes. And
absolutely.
So that
ZV-1 is a great tool for anybody like that's a heavy Panasonic user, doesn't want to invest in a lot of lenses. They just want to be able to have one camera that they can rely on autofocus for little quick stuff like that. I think it's a great choice for something like that. And like you said, then you can use it for like an overhead cam, and it's going to be in focus versus your other Panasonic cameras. So I don't know.
And I'm not much of a vlogger, so I don't know if I'd use it for like vlogging and stuff like that. Maybe, but mostly just BTS stuff,
Yeah.
If you had to pick a YouTuber that actually had the GH6, who do you think would actually have the GH6 if it's a big YouTuber? Anybody?
It's a good question.
Mm-hmm. We don't know. If I had to guess, Caleb Pike, maybe DSLR video shooter, would have one.
Some of them won't get it.
That has a good relationship with Panasonic.
I would think Jevon Dovey. Well, Jevon Dovey will definitely get one sent to him probably as like a loaner, just to lure him back to Panasonic from Sony.
Bring him back into the family.
The only thing that really made him switch in the first place was that A7S III. Sony sent him one.
Yeah.
And he just like, I have to use this. I mean, anyone, once you get that camera, I don't care what you shoot with. If someone loaned you that camera, you're going to like that camera. It's got so many awesome features. It's also really expensive. So, I mean,
I can't believe how many people switched away from Panasonic and Canon when the A7S III. I mean, I never thought in my life
that was big.
Matty Hapoya would move over to Sony. As well as another guy that I never ever thought would move away from Canon was Mondo Bytes from Armando Ferreira, man, from Mondo Bytes. I mean, my goodness, I never thought he would ever move away, and now they're all shooting FX3 rigs. It's crazy.
How much time do you guys spend on YouTube? Like, do you watch it pretty regularly?
Off and on, yeah.
Yeah,
I watch my typically at lunch for sure. There's a couple. I mean, like Peter Lindgren posted a video every single day, so it's really easy to just pop it and be like, oh, he's got a 6-minute video or a 10-minute video. I'm gonna watch that at lunch. And when I get home, if I'm researching something, I'll look up a few other videos to see talking points. That's about it.
Yeah, I
need to do better at commenting on other people's videos and stuff. I'm not.
I work in IT, so I sit around a lot of the day waiting for tickets to come in.
Nice.
So some days are busier than others, and I work at a desk, so I watch a lot of YouTube in between waiting for stuff to happen. And sometimes I'm sitting there like, man, I should be editing a video right now instead of watching I just watched like 3 or 4 videos in a row, I could have been, taking out some edits of my videos. So I'm trying to lean away from that, but I don't ever miss a Peter Lindgren video. I don't ever. I try to be the first commenter on both Peter Lindgren and City Diongson, but lately I've been terrible at that. But
I like when you comment on my videos and you're like, all you type is first. Love it.
Same here. Yeah.
I when I'm commenting on these people's videos, I'm trying to like, oh, I see the video go live, or it'll be like up for 5 minutes and nobody's commented. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta
First.
Either I'm pulling my phone out and I'm like, typing on the phone is so slow, so I'll just type first and hit enter as soon as I could, or if I'm on the computer.
That's awesome.
But I don't know. There's something about I know how encouraging it is to see like somebody just want to try to be the first. I don't know. It definitely is encouraging these creators to see it, and I try to be. I want to be that. I just want to be an encouraging guy too. I don't know how. I don't care how big or small of a creator you are. You need. It's a rough, lonely life if you're just doing it all by yourself, and so I at least want to bring some sort of joy and happiness to people. So
I feel like you should get into like coaching people or something, or professional encourager.
Well, it's funny you said that. Like I was telling Kyle this. Like I think my dream job would be something with, I don't know, with some job where I could work with a bunch of creators and either help them push their content out, or work for like a brand like Rode or Sony, where I just get my whole job is to just build relationships with various creators and help them with certain releases or whatever they need. I don't know.
Hey,
I just think that'd be kind of a fun job to do, but we'll see. I don't know. Patrick Murphy.
I did see in here. I did see in here they're talking about some people that have the GH6 already. I have heard that it's out there.
I would guess that usually people have it about a month early. With NDAs.
I sound like Dima. I think I had to fight Dima in the comments. Like, no, I want to be first, not you.
The one thing that we talked about back when the A7 IV was coming out. If you know who those like Panasonic creators are who have GH5s, if you see what they're like, usually by now, if they would probably be already demoing the new ones. So if you see like a dramatic change in their videos, whether it's like things that they don't normally do, different slow-mo or quality, and sometimes quality is hard to see, but then you can usually guess like, yeah, that's probably what it is. And
something's up.
Like I remember when Lindgren was starting to show these like really good drone looking footage. It's like he's clearly got the Mavic 3. I mean, and there was like a zoom lens version. You could see the like different focal ranges. I'm like, he's got that for sure. And
that's awesome.
The A7 IV was a hard one to tell because for the most part, if you're shooting it in normal mode, it looks like the A7S III. So
you missed. I mean, we've been kind of talking about it sporadically, math slide. But if you want to know, the biggest thing is we're pretty much hoping that they come out with autofocus, and we're saying they need to. Essentially, we think it's gonna be an amazing camera. It's gonna blow a lot of things out of the water. We're just hesitant whether they're gonna have autofocus. There's not been a lot of rumors out there other than just the new sensor and all that other stuff.
There's not a ton of information. There's not a ton of leaks on it, but even if it doesn't have the autofocus, I will probably still get it though. Just because
you probably kind of have to.
Yeah, I'll probably.
Gerald Undone for sure is having the Panasonic camera. Everybody's waiting for his first highly detailed video that he releases. Anthem Music said, Caleb, you shoot for banks, right?
I have some banks.
Banks. You shoot for those crooks? How did you get into shooting for banks? They reach out to,
it's just they reach out, or
banks.
Like people that banks, people that work there. I mean, they're big for my area. They're like big local banks, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or one of them is big local bank, basically. So, I mean, it's like, think outside the box. There's a lot of like small towns around here too, like where I live.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of small towns. Like a lot of those people, I mean, if you can give them a good deal on, if you're just getting started doing video, if you can go in, give them, hey, Eddie, if you can just give them a good deal on, just like, hey, let's do some employee intros, you know, like, or let's whatever, you know, do you have online banking? Let's do a video for that, you know, where you're just using the app. That type of
We're
thing.
gonna a little small plug. Eddie works for a bank. I forgot. Eddie
Nice.
he works in the New York City. He works for a bank
Right
up
on.
there. He's a
New
he's a
York
big,
City.
he's a big Canon shooter. He's a high roller and gets those 1DXs. And he's got like muscles. Like he's a buff Hispanic man.
Yes.
He can. Eddie, I gotta watch. I can't wait to watch the stream tomorrow, or I can't wait to see how that game show went for you guys. It sounded like it was be really cool. So,
Hey Caleb, I don't know if you know who this is, but Preston Jensen, he lives just north of you.
Preston Jensen.
Think
he has
I
a
don't remember if he's,
podcast and
I don't remember
loves
if he's
flying drones.
Fargo area. I forget where he is. He'll
Oh,
probably
Fargo.
punch in, but
North of the border.
yeah, he's I'm pretty sure he's North Dakota.
See what I tell you guys. Another guy that converted from a Canon. He's a 1DX fanboy to a Sony A1. That Sony A1 is real good.
A1.
I'm not gonna lie.
A1
That thing
sauce. I like that on steak.
My father-in-law hates it when I put A1 on steak because he's like, "Oh, you're ruining it! Oh
I
my
know.
gosh!" I'm just
Yeah,
like,
people-
"Sorry, I'm a
people are
saucy
funny
kind of
about
guy."
See, the trick is you gotta just throw it on the steak before you cook it. Then then you'll just say, no,
It's in
it's
it.
a steak.
It's part of the steak. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
This tastes great.
He says Valley City. I'm not
Valley
sure.
City. I don't know where that's at. Sounds like
He has
North
he has
Dakota
a podcast show. You should be on it.
town. Sweet.
There you
I'll
go.
check it out.
Eddie Nunez has to get together with Patrick Murphy. They both live in New York City. So there you go. Go fly some drone. Patrick should go fly some drones with the Mr. Eddie Nunez. He's a nice guy, and he's got some sick camera gear. What do you know?
When was the last time that Panasonic put out like a point and shoot?
They have
we have
some point and shoots. It's funny because they advertise them as vlogging cameras, but I don't think the autofocus is any different on them.
Okay.
I don't know.
We have a lot of bankers in here. I gotta watch my mouth sometimes.
I don't know the model numbers for those Lumix point and shoots, but I know they have some.
Okay, because I know like
Yeah.
Sony's kind of went a little wild with that one. They kind of cannibalized their own RX100 line, I think, a little bit doing it. But like Canon hasn't put out a new one recently. Like no one's competing on that market right now, and I don't understand why.
No, that's why that ZV-1 intrigues me so much.
A74, this math slide used it the other day and said it's an amazing camera. It does everything for you. Yes, it does. It's pretty much like a baby A7S3 with a little bit sharper image because of that higher megapixel sensor.
Just don't move that camera fast.
There you go, Patrick. You and Eddie should get together. There you go. Eddie is like all for it, and Mr. Patrick, he's Patrick is trying to grow his channel. So, and I think you guys probably
we need like a button bar for like like matching up people. Like we're matchmakers.
Yeah, that's kind of what this is turning into. If it seems like.
Who else is from a city? Put your cities down. We're gonna find where.
I know a lot of people, so I know what people who need to meet and mingle.
Coach.
Desmond Wong, and I can't wait to have this guy on the stream when we get our creator camp going. Desmond is if you guys don't know Desmond's channel, just really, really high quality content, very remnants of very much of the earlier days of Caleb Hoover when he was, just starting out. Remind me a lot of Kyle Watts too. So he's just a fantastic creator. These guys are going to be having plenty of subs in the future. So you might as well start now and go subscribe to them while they're young and encourage those guys. Cause he's
Hey Desmond, are you working with cuts now? I saw he was rocking some cut shirt on one of his new
Who, Desmond?
photos. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that, man.
How
He's
do
trying
we
to
work
go
the
the
cuts?
Cuts clothing.
Say if
I'm
you're
not
buying it, you should
fancy
just go
enough for
reach out to
Cuts.
them and try to get it like an ambassador thing with them.
I'm wearing this like T-shirt that my secretary for my school made me.
Nice.
I'm the school tech, so she made me like a
Love
Star
it.
Wars tech shirt. I'm a nerd.
I love
Yeah, someone
Star
did say
Wars.
phones did kind of gut the point and shoot market, that's for sure. But I mean, yeah, phones look good. I hate trying to use a phone primarily and then having to find a way, like you can only airdrop like 5 videos at a time to a Mac before it doesn't want to do it. So it
Yeah.
can be a headache. So
Yeah, I have a hard time making stuff on my phone. That's where I would want something like the ZV-1 to kind of do that BTS stuff.
yeah, I get good at taking like photos and that's about it. And I learned how to like edit in Lightroom to make them not look like iPhone photos.
Yeah, right.
There's a couple little weird contradicting tricks that actually make it look
You're right, Caleb.
yeah.
Or, you're right, Kyle. He's working with Cuts now.
Awesome.
Working
Yep.
with Cuts.
Maybe I need to join in the club here, but get some nice fitting shirts from you or something. But
Where do we sign?
Desmond, man, you've got that Asian blood in you. You look young. You're gonna look young until you're 20 years from now. You're still gonna look young, bro. It's that Asian blood in you. I have a lot of great Asian friends. I love me some Asians. Man, this is getting. I'm going really crazy. Right now.
Yeah, maybe just stop right.
I need to stop while I'm ahead.
Like,
you just need to see the end of the video. The end of the video that my next video with Kyle Watts.
yeah, when are you guys putting out content that you made together?
What's that?
Hopefully soon. Yeah. I mean, I started editing my stuff. So Paul, my next video is going to be the ZV-1 on the
around the world.
The Crane M3 gimbal that just came out. I don't know if you know what that gimbal is. It's a smaller compact gimbal that actually holds quite a bit of weight. And my idea was to film like a whole bunch of kind of the trendy travel style footage with the ZV-1 at Epcot and just say like we're traveling the world and put them all together. Paul knows this, that we were so like just go in and get some shots, and like everyone was always in the shots, and I wasn't quite thinking if I whip this way I have to make sure when we go to Paris to whip into some. There's a lot of shots that don't work together at this point, so I'm trying to find a way.
Here's
to
what
put
I
it
also
together.
noticed. You maybe you should keep this in mind too. And anybody that's shooting B-roll or whatever, when you're doing these panning shots, you have to remember to pan further than you think. Like keep panning past a shot, because there was a few shots that you shot that I really wanted to like mask them together and be one seamless like flow, but it stopped to like you got to the one point and just stopped, and you needed to keep going to be able to have them both seamless, like mask them together. So one tip from doing masks and B-rolls, you gotta overshoot your pans, like go from one wide angle and pass way past it so that you have enough room to mask them together.
When I used to,
Is that a vlogging trick?
Well, I mean, when I did all our travel videos for our other channel, my wife's, she always did all of our editing. She said the same thing, like let it breathe. She would always tell me. So like it just like she always wants to cut it just right after I actually make a move. And sometimes she'll be like, I had to do it. I had to make it fit. And in my head, I'm like, you could just slow it down to like 98% and that'll make it work too. But instead of having that like jitter at the end of the shot or something. So it's just, yeah. Well, anyways, and we did a bunch of talking heads, so I'm putting that video together now. I'm just trying to make that intro montage be a little bit more interesting, like I had in my head when I filmed it. So
I love, thank Eddie. I'm digging. You're gonna have a book on me by the time you and I finish talking. Just mark that down your list.
Oh, we're gonna get a flippy screen on the GH6. Is that gonna happen?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I mean, it was on the GH5. There's no reason why it wouldn't be on the GH6.
I think it'll be the same type of screen. It might be a little bit like the GH5 Mark II has a little bit smaller of a screen than the GH5, but it's like a higher resolution screen. I think it'll probably be a very similar screen to what the GH5 Mark II has.
I think mass slide, it
to
depends on what
guess.
you're shooting. Now, if you're talking to Caleb, I'm going to answer for Caleb, and then Caleb can verify whether I'm right, because I think I know the answer to this. He probably doesn't use a gimbal at all because he doesn't need a gimbal because he has a GH5. It's like the best stabilization you can have known to man. Kyle and I, we use gimbals only when we need to, when we're like, you know, we try to shoot as much handheld as we can, but there are those times when you're tracking people, or, you know, like tomorrow I gotta shoot something for my school and I'm gonna be like following somebody around, and I'm definitely gonna be putting that camera on a gimbal so I don't have to worry about too much shake. But it really depends on what you're shooting. I mean, am I right, Caleb? You probably don't shoot with a gimbal too often.
I very rarely use a gimbal. I've got this right here, the Crane 2S.
Okay. Yep.
That I really like, and I've used it several times, but I very rarely. Yeah, I do a lot of handheld. And the GH5, you know, has that 5 stops of IBIS, but the GH5 Mark II has 6.5 stops of IBIS, which is even better than. I actually did a video comparing them, the IBIS, and I think it is noticeably better in the GH5 Mark II handheld.
Yeah, and
even walking.
And if you pair them with like another Panasonic lens with built-in image stabilization, yeah, crazy.
Like if you use the Lumix 12-35, which is technically the 24-70 lens, but it's like this big. I have all my gear out in the hallway because I have another shoot coming up, so I don't have anything in here. But it's so small. It's like this, but you know, a full frame, you know, 24-70 is like massive. So this is basically the 24-70 equivalent, but it's you have that dual native IS or dual native IBIS, not dual native, dual IBIS. I'm thinking ISO. I want dual native ISO on the GH5 on the GH6, but yeah.
Preston says they need to add GoPro stabilization in all these better cameras. I think that would be pretty. I mean, we're almost at the point now where every camera's image quality looks amazing. It's like now I feel like they should just try to focus on all these like stabilization and maybe built-in ND filters, or you know, just all these other things that make a great camera, because at this point everything looks amazing. I mean, I don't know. It's a hard battle to shoot between them.
I really do feel like we're at the point where the next battle is going to just immediately be 8K, just because they have to make something better again. And oh, you guys still shoot on 4K?
And that's one battle I don't want to join. I don't have any interest in 8K right now.
No, I have a drone that shoots 8K, and like even that little small sensor, it destroys the computer as it is. So
right.
I mean, we've seen what the A1 8K does, and it's really, you can't really tell, but what it does do is it allows you to like crop in like crazy.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if you want to shoot wide and then just crop to what you want, you can do that.
Use one camera for an interview, and you have like 8 shots in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, speaking about cropping, that brings me to my favorite feature of the Panasonic cameras that I truly miss, and that's the 4K live cropping that they have in those cameras. I loved that feature for shooting B-roll of products. It's just so easy.
Yeah, Sony doesn't have any of that stuff in the menu, does it? Like that.
No, I mean, honestly, I've thought about buying like a G85 or a G7 again, just to have for B-roll, because you don't need autofocus for when you're shooting product B-roll, and it's just so convenient to have that 4K live crop.
Yeah,
I can set it on a tripod, put my points in on the camera, and just hit start, and then just go.
Or you have a 20-second version or a 40-second version,
right?
That you can do in it. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, my video tomorrow, I use some 4K live crop in it.
I mean, the closest they have is like, I mean, there's clear image zoom, which you can go 1.5 crop in. You do lose the autofocus when you do that, or the any kind of like face tracking. If you go super 35, that would be like APS-C lens kind of crop.
Yeah, but what we're talking about, it's a little bit different. So the 4K, the live
it's an
crop that
actual feature.
we're talking about, it's like so imagine you're in Final Cut. I think if you go to the cropping, the Ken Burns, where you choose a start and end point, it's kind of like that, but for video, and it looks like it's shooting a smooth,
it's like a slider, almost.
Right. It looks like you're on a slider or whatever, and you can focus. You can make it zoom in or out, or pan. Just do perfect pans, and it's perfect for B-roll. I mean, I just
I don't think they should get rid of any of those features. They need to keep all of those features on the GH6, like that. That focus transition, like I talked about at the very beginning of this video. The focus transition is another great feature. The 4K live crop is amazing, especially for product stuff. And Paul, these GH5s are going to hit the market here pretty soon. You could just pick one of those up for pretty cheap, probably. Then you have your 4K
that's tempting.
live crop.
I think I used to have the 20, the 12 to 60 kit lens that came with my G85, and I thought it was a great just product B-roll lens. I thought it was because you had that nice zoom range and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Some of those prices might not drop as much as you think, because they
might
depends on if you can even get the other one to begin with. And the A7 IIIs are just like hanging in there price wise, just as much as they were new 2 years ago. So, but it's also because you can't buy any of the new cameras yet because they're not available to get. So,
Dima, you need to try it out. It's
you've never used it. Definitely go use it.
It makes your life, if you're shooting product B-roll, it makes your life so much easier. Oh my gosh.
I have a video on my channel. That is like 5 features that you need to know about the GH5 or something like that. And I talk about that in that camera. If you're not familiar with how to get to it on the GH5, go check out that video. And it goes like right to those settings on there.
Links in the description. Go subscribe to Caleb Hoover because he's got some fantastic content out there. I think the next battle is going to be.
I actually told Dima to go. I told Dima to go follow you the other day when he said he got a GH5. I was like, well, you better go follow Caleb then, because
I was right on the edge of 12.2. I'm going to see if this live stream got me over 12.2. Oh, I'm 1 away. I'm at 12.199.
All right, people. We need one person to get him over the edge. Which one of you is going to do it? Come on, we know there's at least one person out there, maybe 2.
Now that I said that, I'm probably going to lose subscribers.
Kyle and I were talking about this the other day. It's like when you're getting close to those milestones, it's almost like you gain a few and then you lose a few. You gain a few, like you can't.
Paul, I was like 5 away when I was heading to Florida, and then like by Sunday I still hadn't hit it. And now it's Tuesday, and I'm like 40 over now already. So it's just, you get close to those milestones, and you see like, oh, I'm 1 away, and then you click back, and you're like, now I'm 12 away. What happened? What's going on here? So yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's fun. It's not like a goal, but it's fun to watch though.
Yeah.
Someone will do it. If not, I'll do it. I got like 4 channels.
I'm not too worried.
To FP or FXP from Premiere? Did you mean Final Cut? Maybe. Somebody was saying like the mods you need to work with, like UAD to create DSP for these cameras and all that stuff. I think Panasonic always had really great audio preamps in their cameras. Them and Sony, I was always so impressed with the audio from both Panasonic. So
one of the things I like about the GH5 Mark II is you can take it down to -18 decibel level, which just gives you that a little bit more control. On the GH5, it's -12 on decibel level. So I mean, you can see these little incremental improvements that I think will be coming in that GH6.
Dima said that he already saw your video. I guess he forgot about that feature. It was not enough to remind him, and now he's going to go and figure it out again.
Right on. It lives on the channel, man.
I think the GH6 should be based on the Smart Detect mods For vids, it should be phase detection and stills. On stills, it should be contract. Yeah, I mean,
That's a good
I
idea.
think we were talking about this earlier. You know, if you're doing stills, the contrast works great, but you definitely need that phase detection for the video side. So
yeah, it's just not good for video. I mean, it's just not. Like,
it makes the background pulse too.
Yeah. And like, honestly, I've lived without autofocus for so long now. Like, the autofocus discussion is more like, it's an intriguing discussion because that's what everybody's going to be focusing on. But I'm probably going to use the GH6 regardless of whatever. But it's definitely the talking point. You know what I mean? And
for sure.
Like, I don't necessarily need that autofocus. I don't necessarily need that phase detect autofocus on there because I know how to focus because I've been doing it for so long, you know, on the GH5. So it's like, so that type of thing is a really good conversation. But at the end of the day, like, for me personally, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
Unless it's awesome, and then you're going to be like, why did I ever use the...
Absolutely. Absolutely. But then I'm also the same person saying I want to get the ZV-1 for quick and easy behind the scenes stuff, which a big part of that is the autofocus.
Well, I mean, if you can't run the camera at the time, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be smaller than the S5?
I don't think it'll be smaller than the S5.
I feel like they're going to probably try to reuse the same sort of body as the S5.
Yeah, I think it'll have a pretty similar, like, they're kind of going that route with their camera look, so I think it'll be a very similar look to that. S5 is pretty small, but so is the GH5. The GH5 is pretty small too. I guess I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that.
I want to be able to walk anywhere without a press pass. The ZV-1.
Yep. Be surprised what you can bring that camera into.
I mean, we have gone pretty late tonight, and I really appreciate everybody who has stayed with us this long. We've had a decent crowd tonight, and so thank you guys, and thank you so much, Caleb, for joining us tonight. It's been
thanks for having me.
Great, always great talking to you, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and it's good chatting.
I wish we could have all three of us got together when I went up to Minnesota, but maybe next time we'll have to make that work. I surprised Kyle. I did a thing that YouTubers shouldn't do is go and surprise people because then you have no time to plan out.
I was on the way to the emergency room when you got here.
I was gonna say, did you get like sick or something, or something happened?
Well, I thought my toe was like infected, but it was just apparently the start of an ingrowing toenail or something. But I couldn't really walk on it. It was terrible. And then we had to go hiking. So
our trip was a Ben Stiller like moment all over the place. We got there. We had to go to the emergency room for Kyle. The next day, my wife was like very, very sick all night, throwing up.
Actually sounds like a trip I don't want to be on.
And then we had to go to the emergency room again in the morning for my wife, and then and then he got a flat tire one night when we were out one night. Then he got a speeding ticket when we were going up to it was like that trip was like.
Well, then to top it all off, I left my credit card in Duluth. At a restaurant. Yeah.
What were you guys doing? Man.
Just I don't know. It was just one thing after another.
We were just way too excited to be.
But yeah, once this thing we call winter is over and we come out hibernating from our rooms, I'll definitely have to swing out there. So
winter.
I wanted to do that Wild Wild West thing at some point, and maybe I'll do that in South Dakota.
Yeah, come on out.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb would be great for the Wild Wild West look.
I just want to do more fun of just some more fun videos that you can incorporate into your like gear stuff. Because it's fun to watch videos, but it's kind of boring when you just sit down at a desk immediately and start talking about it. And it's fun if you can do like a little 2-minute short in front of your video using whatever it is you're talking about. So, or make Netflix style movies like Josh Yo. Either way.
Yeah, I wonder when Josh Yo moving from LA to Ohio.
Yeah, people are coming to the Midwest, man. Although Ohio is hardly the Midwest, but it's still...
People are all moving down to Florida in droves. So I'll tell you what, man, there's tons of people coming down here. Low taxes and
A lot of people moving here too.
Well, it's beautiful up there. My goodness. But yeah, it's really cold though right now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that is the bummer
But
part.
hey, I really appreciate you coming on, man. Everybody, if you haven't already,
Yeah, thanks.
go subscribe to Caleb. Get him over that mark. I don't know. He probably already got. We probably got one person to do
You
it.
definitely don't have to do that, but it'd be much appreciated.
Hey, you know,
log into all 5 of your emails, subscribe to his channel, and then share all of them. Yep.
and you gotta just make sure you bench watch them, because if you don't watch them, then no. But anyway, we got him on HHM_Caleb for his social media. Go follow him there. Yeah, I put an extra H originally when we first got in here, and he was like, "You got it wrong, bub."
I was like,
but
how
yeah,
dare you
so
put that on there.
That's
just joking.
Total reenactment right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not.
But yeah, thanks for having thanks for being on the show, man. It's awesome.
It's good. Let's have me on again sometime, please.
When the creator camp things happens and we come up with some the flow, we are for sure gonna have you back on. Yep.
Nice little logo.
You know, when this logo is really small, it's really hard to tell what those 2 guys are up there. Like Andrew's like, what is that even?
Is that
well, clearly the guy's riding a one wheel holding a gimbal and a camera.
Wow.
She's like, that's not what I see. Well, that's what
really
it is.
I like that.
So
yeah,
and then maybe maybe in a year we'll try to actually put together like an actual camp. Would be fun. So
that would be blast.
And Lumix shooters come.
Sure, we'll get G8.
Listen,
we're not to sponsor it too. That's fine.
We're not only Sony shooters. We're creator. We're not Sony camera camp. We're creator camp. So
see, creator camp is going to be more based around the people we bring on the show.
I gotcha.
Trying to get them to divulge stuff that they don't normally tell people. That's kind of
when are you switching?
Next time we bring you on, we're gonna have you talk about how you clean up your beard and
Yeah,
I want to. We've been waiting to get that intro done. So there's that, but then also just like the background graphics, planning on I've like we have a list of people that said they'll be on it, but I just don't have a dates or anything yet in place for anyone to actually be on the show. So once we have everything set, then we'll reach out again and try to get a good 4 or 5 weeks in a row at least set. So
absolutely.
And then we're gonna have to figure out there's one guest that's from Sweden, then we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna do live. Because this time of night it's 5 in the morning there right now.
That'd be early.
We might have to do like a noon Saturday or something, Paul.
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to do that one, but I'm sure I know he will do it. I know he will do it. He's the man. I'm talking about Peter Lindgren. He's the man. I got lucky, and I just like the same thing as Caleb. I was encouraging him when he was like under 1,000 subscribers, so he responds to all my Instagram posts because we were talking on Instagram when he was like right at 1,000 subscribers or something like that. Awesome. And when he blew up, I was just like, wow, that happened way fast. I mean, everybody was like, that happened way faster than we thought. But
yeah,
anyway. Awesome. All right. Well, been a long night. Everybody get some sleep and come back, get all rested, and go back out there and go create. Go subscribe to Caleb. Go check out Kyle Watts. We're going to be having some new videos this week. So you guys know that we will see you in the future. Peace out.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! One shot for the kill, the breeze come freeze up, straight dropping the kills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares. A bomb break sky high, check the movement is here. Yeah. It's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours. Go!